Now at 10, city officials meet to discuss a plan to better communication with the city of Joplin. Plus, a widening project for Zora Street. We'll take a look at how that'll affect drivers. And lawmakers discuss what to do with Missouri's large budget surplus.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The city of Joplin is discussing ways to become more transparent to residents. This is KOAM News at 10. I'm Dow Quick. Officials met today for a work session where they laid out initiatives to allow residents and city employees to more easily access information. They also discussed a 5-year plan to tackle the issue. Joplin firefighters are now getting bigger paychecks due to an agreement between the city council and union. The 11.2% increase will help hire additional firefighters and keep the ones they already have. The increase will allow the Joplin Fire Department to hire 14 new people, which would be a total of 102. Police receive a 12% increase. Other city employees get a 4% hike.
Yeah, I think the community here supports police and fire really well, which is important to us. You know, everybody on the fire department and the police department, I think, gives the best that they have every single day to provide for this community.
Pay increase started on December 31st. Progress can come with some growing pains at a busy intersection and home of Joplin's newest school. Joplin's new Dover Hill Elementary is near the intersection of North Main Street and Murphy Boulevard. Those two roads see about 16,000 and 5,000 daily cars. The school district expects about an additional 200 cars for pickup and drop off. However, the flow of traffic, they say, should not be affected much.
And I think with those numbers, you can see 200 vehicles is really not going to have much of a major impact.
The traffic study also showed engineers the most effective place for the entrance and exit for Dover Hill Elementary. And some drivers in Joplin can expect more traffic issues in other places. The city and Jasper County received a $4 million state grant to improve Zora Street, one of the busiest roads in Joplin. Starting from Rangeline, the road toward Duquesne will see curb and gutter improvements, as well as a storm sewer system. Duquesne to Highway 249 will be improved with paved shoulders. The intersection at Zora and Duquesne will get a large truck-friendly roundabout to smooth the traffic with large trucks.
Overall, the people that live there and the people that drive that route, I am getting a lot of support. A lot of people recognize this project needs to be done.
City officials estimate the project will start in the fall of this year or during the spring of 2024. Completion will take about a year. Missouri lawmakers have to figure out what to do with record surplus. Marina Silva explains what's proposed so far.
$6 billion. That's what's sitting in the state's bank account. Now, some lawmakers want to propose another tax cut for Missourians. Others want to allocate it to things like teacher pay. Missouri House Speaker Dean Placker says he'd like to see that money going back to Missourians. He told lawmakers that during a speech on the first day of legislative session. House Minority Leader Crystal Quaid says that money needs to be better spent doing things to benefit Missourians long term.
As I've said many times, we have probably a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to make real investments in Missouri and Missourians. Of course, a tax cut sounds great. It's a one-time thing. What we need to be doing as a legislature is looking at what investments can we make for the long haul when Missouri isn't in the same financial situation that we're in.
There's so many ways that we tax citizens in the state of Missouri. I mean, there's the income tax, there's sales taxes, personal property taxes, which I think have gone up. Regular property taxes. I trust the men and women that serve with me, all 163 of us, to vet legislation that will look to further keep Missourians' money in their pockets.
This is just one of the things that's expected to be watched as session moves on here in Jefferson City.
There are other ideas on the table as well, covering such things as childcare and health care. Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt today was sworn into office for his second term. He defeated Joy Hoffmeister in a tougher than expected battle. Hundreds of people gathered outside the Capitol in Oklahoma City for the ceremony.
People are looking to Oklahoma as the place to find opportunity and to live freely. Oklahoma has become one of the most desirable states in the nation to live, to work, and to raise a family.
Independent Irvin Yen, an Oklahoma City anesthesiologist, and former Republican state senator and libertarian Natalie Bruno of Edmond also ran against Stitt. Meteorologist Sam Lane joins us now with a first look at the weather.
And boy, it's a beautiful look as well, with lots of sunshine, not typical for January with these temperatures in the 60s, even close to the records today. Radar is clear. It's going to be changing over the next few days, though. Temperatures are going to be dropping down through the 40s tonight, all the way down into the mid-30s. Also, we're going to see the clouds increase from west to east as well. Temperatures this afternoon, as I said, were very abnormal, generally in the lower 60s across a large segment of our area, upper 50s in Garnett, pretty close to the record here in Joplin, and temperatures have now fallen down into the 30s for the most part, and some 40s too. If we take a look down the lane, we're going to see some changes in our forecast. We're going to have a warm couple of days, but then we're going to have a winter mix early Thursday morning, but then a mild weekend ahead and maybe some rain early next week. And of course, I'll have all the details on that coming up in your forecast.
Skeletal remains found in Colorado have been identified as those of a Joplin man. Authorities say Michael Kroll was reported missing in the Pagosa Springs area of Colorado in October of 2021. The remains were discovered by hikers last September, but DNA testing has just confirmed that they belong to Kroll. Kroll was 41 when he disappeared. No word on the cause of death. A celebration of life service for Kroll is set for January 28th at Unity of Joplin Church. Authorities are searching for a man who robbed the Casey's store at gunpoint in Airport Drive, Missouri. The robbery occurred just before 10 last night at the Casey's on 5869 North Main Street. Authorities say the robber demanded cash and left, then got into a car, went east toward Webb City. No one was injured, and there is no word yet on any suspect. The Barton County, Missouri Sheriff's Office responded to an armed robbery at Lamarty's truck stop in Lamar Heights. They say this suspect demanded cash, left the store in what authorities believe was a red Ford Escape. The car then went north on I-49. They say the robber has tattoos over both eyes and a tattoo on his right hand. If you have any information, you can call the Barton County Sheriff's Office. Coming up, the Department of Justice uncovers classified documents at President Biden's former office. We're going to have details. Plus, President Biden visits Mexico for the first time that president has done that since 2014. How he looks to address the immigration crisis. CBS News has learned that the Department of Justice is reviewing classified documents found at an office once used by President Biden. According to a source familiar with the matter, the classified documents are small in number and were found in November in a box among unclassified material. Sources would not characterize how sensitive the documents are. The FBI is also involved in the preliminary inquiry, which a source says is nearing its conclusion. The classified records are from his time as vice president. President Biden is making the first visit by a U.S. president to Mexico since 2014 and is hoping to make a dent in the immigration crisis facing both countries. Reporter Skylar Henry has details from Washington.
President Biden and the First Lady were welcomed by Mexico's president at the National Palace in Mexico City on Monday.
Mexico is a true partner.
At this summit of North American leaders this week, Mr. Biden is hoping to work on issues that have plagued both countries,
including our joint action to address the plague of fentanyl, which has killed 100,000 Americans so far, and how we can tackle irregular migration.
Last week, the two countries announced that Mexico will accept up to 30,000 migrants per month from Cuba, Nicaragua, Haiti, and Venezuela, while they await amnesty verdicts in the U.S. Earlier on Monday, Mexican President Manuel López Obrador says he may accept even more migrants who are caught crossing illegally into the U.S.
It's happening on our doorstep.
Back in the U.S., a bipartisan group of lawmakers were in El Paso, Texas, to hear from local officials and experts. But it's been decades since Congress passed comprehensive immigration reform.
Our system's broken, and it's our responsibility even in this polarized political environment, to try to come up with solutions.
President Biden was in the border city on Sunday and promised to help border agents handle the surge.
They need a lot of resources, and we're going to get them for them.
Data from U.S. Customs and Border Patrol show its guards stopped more than 2.3 million migrants in the 12 months leading up to this past October. That's about a 35% increase from the previous year. Skyler Henry, CBS News, Washington.
President Biden and Canada's Justin Trudeau will hold their own talks tomorrow. A little bit later, a St. Louis area family returns from their Make-A-Wish trip, but the trip wasn't as easy as intended. We'll tell you why.
And we have a nice forecast for the next couple of days, but then some changes in our forecast, and we'll have all the details when we return. Boy, it was a warm day across the area, well above normal for January. In fact, we were pretty close to the record, and we're going to get close to the record again tomorrow. But first, let's enjoy tonight. We can see down in Seneca, Missouri, Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, mostly fair skies across the entire four-state area, calm winds for the most part, and mild temperatures. This afternoon, we made it up to 64, which was only 3 degrees away from the record set back in 1963, 20 degrees above normal on your high, 7 degrees above the normal low of 25, although it was freezing this morning. This afternoon, we saw a few cirrus clouds move by this afternoon. Those have now rapidly moved off towards the east. We have some more cirrus clouds in association with a storm system that's now starting to make its impact on the west coast. And there's storm after storm after storm lined up, one right after the other in the Pacific Ocean. All of these storm systems are going to make their way towards the east and impact our weather a little bit. Not going to be nearly as severe as, of course, for the folks in California. Temperatures right now are generally in the 30s and 40s. It's already down to freezing in Neodesha, close to that in Sedan. Pick out your hometown. 42 in Nevada, 44 in Neosho, as well as Bella Vista in northwest Arkansas. Although we're seeing temperatures generally around 10 degrees warmer tonight than we were 24 hours ago, so at least we're on the positive side. Dew points are generally in the 20s and 30s across our area. We're going to start to see these dew points increase over the next couple of days too on south winds, and that's going to bring up the moisture in time to meet up with a cold front. 45 right now in Joplin, south-southwest wind at 8, so it makes it feel like 41, so not much of a chill out there. 34 on the dew point, and the pressure is currently steady. Rain chances over the next 36 hours are going to generally be on the low side. Not really expecting much precip over the next couple of days, but as I said, Wednesday night into Thursday, that's when things are going to change. Temperatures tonight are going to be in the 20s and 30s across our area with a few clouds, south winds continuing, and then tomorrow breezy with highs in the 60s. Once again, we're going to be close to the record of 69 tomorrow. The temperature is about 64, so only about 5 degrees away from that. Southerly winds really bringing up the moisture and the warm air. Then Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, we're going to see lows generally in the 40s, which is way above normal. 30s up to the north and west behind a cold front. But don't worry, this cold front's going to stop in its tracks and then kind of retreat back to the north as we go through Wednesday as a warm front with highs in the low to mid 60s, once again 50s up towards the north. But then the changes start Wednesday night into Thursday morning. We're going to see showers break out. The front will come back through as a cold front, and we could see a winter mix developing across our northern counties, maybe even here in Joplin as well. So we'll have to watch that pretty closely, especially for the morning commute on Thursday. Amounts are going to be light though, generally heavier amounts down to the south and east, around a tenth or more, lighter amounts to the north and west, and some places probably won't receive a thing. So we'll have to wait and see how that all pans out. Over the larger view, you can see that storm system moving out into the plains on Wednesday. The mild air will start to be shifted off towards the south and east. Cold air will briefly move in on Thursday into Friday, but then the mild air starts to come back in as we head towards the weekend. Your next 7 days looks like this: 64 tomorrow, 62 on Wednesday, with the rain coming in late Wednesday, early Thursday. Again, some of that could mix over on Thursday morning, especially up to the north. Much cooler on Friday, but closer to normal Dow. And then we go back above normal early next week with highs in the 60s. And then we have another little bit of a dip on Wednesday and Thursday of next week.
Nothing that you would call bitterly cold.
No, not in the foreseeable future.
Thanks, Sam. During the mess of Southwest flight cancellations, a family from St. Louis was delayed from going on their daughter's Make-A-Wish trip. Family was finally able to make it to Disney, and they're now back home in St. Peter's. Shoshana Stahl sat down with the family about how their trip turned into something they never saw coming.
Yes, she enjoyed Walt Disney, but as a family, it wasn't the vacation or the wish that we envisioned.
The Baldock family was one of the many dealing with the Southwest cancellations last week. After their daughter Zephanie was diagnosed with leukemia in 2019, she's been dreaming of her Make-A-Wish trip to Disney for years. That trip got off to a rocky start when their flight to Florida was canceled.
She's been through cancer. She's, 3 years of chemo, 2 open heart surgeries, and here's this one special week that she gets, and Southwest messed it up. To me,
and she can't get it back. That was her one-time wish. She can't have another wish now.
The Baldocks spent 17 hours at Lambert Airport waiting to get rebooked before eventually renting a minivan and driving down to Florida.
The airport makes me tired.
The frustration that we kept inside, it boiled over. I mean, your patience started running short. You're tired. You're frustrated.
Make-A-Wish extended Zephanie's trip to make up for lost time because of Southwest's cancellations. But the Bulldogs went 2 days without their luggage.
2 of our bags came on an 8:20 flight to Orlando. So I went to the airport to be there to meet them on the carousel at 8:20, brought them back to the hotel, and then went back at 11 for the 11:40 flight from St. Louis to Orlando, and picked up our last bag.
It's something they say no family, especially a Make-A-Wish family, should ever have to go through.
Somehow, some way, I'm going to make it up to Zephanie and do it again in a few years maybe, but we're going to do it right sometime soon.
Still ahead, the Kansas State Wildcats climb into the national rankings after 3 straight wins over ranked opponents. And the Carl Junction girls hit the floor in a top 10 battle against Republic. Jacob Leonard has those stories and more next.
Well, tonight is a big night for the Carl Junction High School girls basketball team. The Bulldogs play at home this evening in a top 10 matchup against Republic. And the Carl Junction is 10-1, ranked 4th in the state in Class 5. Republic is 12-1. Number 6 in Class 6. Hot start for CJ Destiny Berge. Pulls up off the dribble, knocks down the 3 ball. Later, Kylie Scott working in the paint, scoops it in and the foul. Carl Junction up 17-6 after 1. In the second, right before the buzzer, Hallie Shorter, good from deep. Bulldogs maintain a 9-point advantage at halftime. Second half, here comes Republic. Hope shots. Buries the 3 from the far side. The Tigers rally to take a 2-point lead going to the 4th. In the 4th, Destiny Berge gets her own rebound, putback, and the foul. She scores 18. CJ goes back up 1 with the free throw. The Bulldogs up 3 with 90 seconds left, but Cayman Beckemeyer's 3 ties the game back up. So, final 10 seconds, still tied. Kylie Scott drives, tough shot, but it does go down. Scott scores the team high 21. Bulldogs up 2. Republic heads the other way. One final chance to tie it up, but his shot is off. And that is it. Carl Junction wins a thriller tonight over Republic, 50-48. In Webb City, big one to open conference play for the Cardinals hosting Neosho. Sammy Mancini working early for Webb City. A couple buckets in the first quarter. She gets 13 points, 6 rebounds for the Cardinals. Second quarter, Carly Ellick for Neosho. Nice move in the lane. She scores, but Neosho down 2 at half. In the third quarter, Kate Brownfield gets the friendly home bounce. She scores 10 to go along with 4 rebounds. The third quarter was a nice quarter for Neosho. Back to Ellick, more nice footwork. 15 points, 12 rebounds for Carly Ellick, but Webb City finishes it. Mancini short jumper for the Cards. Webb City holds on to beat Neosho tonight, 40-38. The Kansas State Wildcats have entered the national rankings for the first time this season, sitting at number 11 in this week's AP poll. It's the first appearance for the Wildcats in the AP poll since 2019. K-State's 12-1 to start the season. They got 3 straight wins over top 25 teams. The Kansas Jayhawks, by the way, up 1 spot to number 2 this week, while Mizzou stays put at number 20. Well, the regular season is over, and it's time for the playoffs for the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Chiefs have earned the number 1 seed and a first-round bye in the AFC playoffs, going 14-3 in the regular season. On Saturday, Chiefs cruised by the Raiders 31-13 in their season finale. And with that win, the Chiefs finished the season 6-0 against AFC West opponents. Now, they don't know who they're going to play in the playoffs yet, but they do have this week off, so they'll spend it cleaning some things up, but also getting rested and healthy for their playoff run.
That's the trick to it, is the balance, and then how the players utilize their free time. So, and coaches for that matter. I mean, we've got to make sure that we keep on top of the scheme stuff too. So try to keep the balance for the players, stay sharp, and coaches still can add a couple things into the guys, into their mix, and then we go from there.
South Dakota State football won the FCS National Championship last night, beating North Dakota State 45-21. Former Joplin High School running back Isaiah Davis was a big part of it. He rushed for 104 yards and a touchdown in the national championship game, while also picking up 28 receiving yards. And Davis led the national champs in rushing yards this year with 1,374 yards and 14 touchdowns. That's it for sports. We're back after this.
Take some time now to honor a local veteran. John Drennan served in the U.S. Marine Corps from 1966 to 1970. Joplin native was stationed in Vietnam, and we are proud to salute Lance Corporal John Drennan, a four-state hero. We've been on a pretty high point with the weather lately.
Absolutely.
A bit of a dip. It's still not too bad.
A little bit of it. You know, that's January. It's supposed to be cold in January. Not 64 like we're going to see tomorrow with almost a record high. And then we do take that little bit of a dip on Thursday and Friday. Warms back up early next week. And then another little dip at the latter part of next week.
Final sports notes.
Not so good news for the Big 12 tonight in the national championship game. Georgia beat TCU 65-7 in the national championship game. So we'll have a little recap. We'll have some post-game reaction from that right here tomorrow night.
That's kind of embarrassing.
Yeah, it's not what you want if you're college football for the national championship game over in 10 minutes, yeah.
In front of national audience. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget, morning show, 5 a.m. Let's make it a great tomorrow.